Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We're taking a look today at the New York Rangers and my predictions for what they will do this offseason. We'll be taking a look at that in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. So let's take a look at the Rangers. So let's get right into things. So, the Rangers have made a couple of interesting moves this offseason already. They fired their, who did they fire? The president, John Davidson, their general manager, Jeff Gorton, and they got rid of their head coach, David Quinn. So, what's next for the Rangers this offseason? Maybe in the draft, free agency, trades, what else with the Rangers? New head coach? So, we're going to get into all of that. So, we're going to start off with the coaching. So, the New York Rangers are going to hire a new head coach over the next couple of weeks. Definitely before free agency. And I think that's going to play a factor. So, that's why I'm getting into that. So, the New York Rangers are going to hire Gerard Gallant as their next head coach. And the reason I think this is going to happen, he's a good fit with what the Rangers are trying to do. I know a lot of Ranger fans want Gallant, especially on Twitter and Reddit and, personally, a lot of Ranger fans want Gerard Gallant. He seems like a good option. You saw what he did with Vegas, the Florida Panthers. He's done some really good things around the league, and I think the Rangers and the fans really see this guy as somebody that could take the Rangers from that team that's pretty good. They have some pieces to make them that next step. Kind of like what we saw with the Islanders, where the Islanders had mediocre coaches, and then Barry Trotz comes in and sets a tempo, sets a culture, and makes the team better. That's what we saw him do with the Vegas Golden Knights, a team that wasn't particularly that talented, and he made them one of the best teams over the, you look at whose career got started because of Gerard Gallant, probably still giving him edible arrangements and flowers to this day. William Karlsson, Jonathan Marchessault. Those guys' careers were started because of Gerard Gallant. So that's just something to keep an eye on, and hopefully he could do that with guys on the Rangers. Guys like Buchnevich, Kakko, Lafreniere. He can build those guys up. Keandre Miller, Nils Lundqvist, hopefully next season. And hopefully some of those young defensemen like Braden Schneider. So that's what you're probably going to see out of Gerard Gallant. He's going to give a breath of fresh air to Ranger fans who have been frustrated the last 3 years. They've struggled in big games. And that's another thing. Gerard Gallant has been known to get the most out of his teams in big games. And I think Gerard Gallant could definitely help that for this up and coming now New York Rangers team, where the expectations are a little higher than they were over the past couple years. They have a first and second overall draft pick in consecutive years, and they're probably going to have a decent draft pick this year. God, please do not give them another one or two. Please, don't. That's besides the point, though. The Rangers are ready to take that next step, and Gerard Gallant is going to help with that. So now we get to the draft table, and I think we're going to see the Rangers. Now, again, depends on where they sit at the draft. If they win the lottery, and I swear to God, if they win the lottery again, you have to say it's rigged. It's ridiculous. You don't win first and second in consecutive years and then get the first or second pick again. No way. There's no way. They have the least likely odds out of every team in the league. It is less than it's less than a 1% chance they get the first or second pick. God only help me if they do. But they're more than likely going to draft in the top between, I think it's 15 or 16. They're likely going to select with that pick from the QMJHL, Zach LeHayu. This kid has been very solid in the QMJHL, and he's another center, which the Rangers have some centers, but maybe to add a little bit more depth to that group, that would be a good thing. You really can't go wrong with centers. You could always put them on the wing, but if they lose a guy like Zibanejad next summer, if they do, we've seen, unfortunately, guys like Lias Andersson haven't really worked for them. Vitaly Kravtsov looks more like a winger, so if you add another center to maybe upgrade over a guy like, say, Ryan Strome on the second line, well, then you bring in a guy like Zach LeHayu, who could be that next second line center. Brett Howden really hasn't developed into that. So you add Zach LeHayu, and he's a good center, so adds to your center core. And not to mention, he is an agitator. And if we know anything about what happened to the Rangers over the past couple of weeks, James Dolan will tell Chris Drury, the general manager of the Rangers, hey, you got to add some grit to our team. And Zach LeHayu is a perfect way to do that. You add the center depth and you add some grit to your team, kind of like a Brad Marchand, Tom Wilson, agitator-esque player. And I think we could see that. Now, the only thing is, in the bright, shining lights of New York, he has a little bit of an attitude issue, and that could rein in a little bit under Gerard Gallant, but that is another thing that maybe the Rangers decide not to draft him, but I'm going to take the wild card that they select Zach LeHayu at either 14 or 15, maybe even 16, depending on where the Rangers sit. But yeah, Zach LeHayu to the Rangers with their first round pick. They're going to make a trade. I'm going bold here for Jack Eichel. Do they make the big Eichel trade? Now, maybe they don't select LeHayu at that point because they trade that first round pick. But you trade Kakko, Miller, and this year's first for Jack Eichel. And that seems like a high price tag. But again, you're getting that big superstar name. Now, I think it's a little bit of an outside shot. I think the other things are more likely. But that is an outside possibility. I also have in free agency, and that's why I think getting a new head coach here soon is important. They're going to sign Zach Hyman, who is playing with the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they're going to sign him to a 6-year, $36 million contract. 6 years for $6 million per season. I think that's a fair contract. Zach Hyman adds some depth to the wing. He's a good penalty killer, and that's something I think the Rangers were lacking in this season. They had guys like Kevin Rooney and Colin Blackwell. Zach Hyman is definitely an upgrade over those guys, and they're going to have, again, salary is a little bit of a concern, but again, if they move out some of these guys, maybe this offseason they buy out guys like Tony DeAngelo, which I mentioned as well, they're going to have a little more cap flexibility, and I think we could see them bring in Zach Hyman. So, and like I mentioned, to cap it off, I think they do buy out the final year of Tony DeAngelo. Chris Drury has said he does not want to touch anything with Tony DeAngelo at this point, so expect him to get bought out on the final year of his contract. So, to recap, what I think the Rangers will do, they're going to hire Gerard Gallant as their next head coach. On the draft floor, they select Zach LeHayu with either 15 or 16 at the draft table. They're going to trade potentially Kaapo Kakko for what? I don't necessarily know. Maybe another defenseman. Maybe they package up Kakko and Trouba to get rid of Trouba's deal. Again, that seems like a risky move. You don't want to lower your value for Kakko, so maybe they don't do that. They decide that they're going to buy out a guy like the final year of Tony DeAngelo, and they sign Zach Hyman in free agency. So, pretty good timetable there for the Rangers. Again, I think there's some outside chances that they trade a guy like Jack Eichel. Maybe they trade out Jacob Trouba to move out some cap space. So there's some little things that the Rangers could do. Maybe they decide to move on from Mika Zibanejad if they trade Jack Eichel, because that's their first line center now. And, is Zibanejad needed if his contract ends next year? You're not going to have the money to sign Zibanejad. Do you move him? Because the Rangers aren't really in a spot where they could just, let Zibanejad walk for free next summer. So maybe they decide, maybe it's better off that we trade him now where his value is a little higher. And we're not going to, and I mean, obviously you could use him, he's needed. But instead of letting him walk for nothing, maybe you get something for him this offseason. So those are some of the things that we could look at with the Rangers here. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you think the New York Rangers will do this offseason? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, you guys already know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.